Praise the Lord. Our Daily Bread Feed My Sheep series I do when I'm picking up my stepson from school. We just open up the Bible and read where we open up at. Today is 11/30/2023, excuse me. I'm trying to go back a year. 11/30/2023. Our Daily Bread Feed My Sheep. This is episode number 37. Episode number 37. We all know I just opened the Bible, and where I open it up at is where I read, and we just happen to be in the second book of Moses called Exodus. The very first chapter is where I opened up at, and we're going to read that and see what thus saith the Lord. Now these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob. Verse 2. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher, and all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls. For Joseph was in Egypt already. Verse 6. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. So we see that the people of God are in Egypt, and the person that had favor in Egypt has died in that whole generation. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. Verse 7. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly, and multiplied and waxed exceedingly mightily, and the land was filled with them. So even in slavery and oppression that was about to come, the people was increasing. Verse 8. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And this is important to know, because the king that knew Joseph gave Joseph favor, gave Joseph's people favor. Stuff flying in. Should close my window. So the king that was giving Joseph favor had passed away. Now there rose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. Verse 9. And he said unto his people, behold, these people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. So out of fear, the new king seen all the Israelites and said, it's too many. If they join our enemies and fight us, we're done. Let's get them up out the land. Verse 11. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. There's so many things I can say about that. That's why it's so important that when you are born again, you have to examine yourself and reevaluate your priorities that are in your life. Because 9 times out of 10, family, we need to get delivered from ourselves. This world will program you and make you believe that you have to work X amount of hours to get X amount of things to have X amount of success. And none of that's true to a born-again believer. None of it's true. Either God is our provider and our provision, our source and our resource, or he's not. And when you're a born-again believer, one thing people lack is faith. That's what they lack. They don't lack anything but faith. Therefore they did set over them, in verse 11 in chapter 1 of Exodus. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasured cities, Pithom, Ramses. But the more, listen to this, I love this part. I remember this from reading it before. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel. So I was a boxer at one time. And I made myself the type of fighter that no matter how the fight was going, I wasn't going to quit. There ain't nothing worse than fighting somebody who don't quit and actually get stronger and better during the fight. Because your mindset is like, what can I do? I'm afflicting them, but yet they're getting better. They're increasing. And that's what it says in verse 12. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. That's a lot of revelation in that, because people sometimes don't understand the purpose why God allows certain things to happen. You don't grow from doing good. You don't grow from just doing checking all the marks, crossing every T dot. You grow from your mistakes. A person can be perfect their entire life as far as perfection can be. Eat right or whatever, exercise, whatever. But it's until that person experiences some kind of hardship or pain, you really know what that person is made of. You know, that's why, this is an example that stayed in my head ever since I read about it years and years ago when the Wall Street crashed or whatever happened with the money in Wall Street. That they had rich people committing suicide and jumping off of bridges and doing things because they could not fathom being poor. They could not understand what life would be like not having what they were used to having. So they'd rather kill themselves than have to even think about it or deal with it. So that's what was going on with the children of Israel. It says, but the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel. So this grieved the Egyptians, because they say we got taskmasters over them to afflict them with their burdens, with Egyptian burdens. In other words, whatever burdens the Egyptians, they would put taskmasters over the children of Israel to make them do them. I don't want to take out my trash, get an Israelite. I don't want to build, get an Israelite. I don't want to do this hard. So whatever was their burden, they got an Israelite to do. Verse 13, and the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. Now I'm going to say this because, and I know it's going to fly right over the head of a lot of people. Why is it that on the internet, we're always concerned as a people, that's why I said we, how much an athlete makes or a singer makes, but we never focus on how much senators and congressmen and people that our taxes pay for make. We're quick to talk about, well, this athlete makes this. Well, he's working for it. Our taxes don't pay for athletes. Our taxes don't pay for rock singers and rap singers and all these different people. So why is it of our concern how big their house is, or how many cars they got, or how they living? Why are we not examining the people that our taxes are paying for instead of those? See, that's the problem. It says, and I'm going to tell you why I said this, and the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. Because years ago, God revealed to me that the lovers of money who operate in evil, the love of money is the root of all evil, those people are the same people that's running this world in corporations and Congress. They have set the system up to keep you a slave, to keep you serving with rigor so they can stay rich and so you can work out their burdens. That's why I don't even trip off a homeless sometimes, because a homeless person don't have a care in the world, because no one is forcing them to do anything. They have made their choice and they're living with it daily. Versus this person that's driving this expensive car to make somebody rich, go to some job where the car sits at all day, to come back to a home they ain't been to all day, they're paying for. I mean, it goes on and on, and people don't like to think about it because it's their reality. They're still serving the powers that be with rigor, and the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. They know how to read too. They seen how to enslave people. Verse 14, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage. Our time is almost up, but just think about this. So you work, I used to work a temporary job years ago for an old man. I was like, ain't you kind of old to be still working? He says, yeah, I planned my whole life to retire. I've been working my whole life and I plan to retire at this particular time. But the medication is so expensive, I can't afford to retire. So basically he had wasted his whole life and got tricked to the time where it came for him to retire and relax. He couldn't afford it because so many things have changed. If you don't hear nothing else out of this lesson, hear this, family. Once you're born again, all things become new. Stop thinking the way you was trained to think, and definitely stop doing the things you was trained to do, because that's not going to give you the freedom and the liberty that Jesus Christ paid for you to have. He said it is finished, and that's what he meant. But it's up to you to be born again and accept the things that God has for you. God bless you. Talk to you soon.